Hello, networkers, and welcome back to another episode of Ask the Network Engineer. And we are concluding this mini series of talking about applying for jobs. And this was something that was a collaborative effort that I did of talking to various colleagues, business partners, consultants, engineers, business owners, including my wife, which does a lot of hiring people, and providing the feedback that they have given me about what works and what doesn't work. And I also included my own feedback of my own experiences. So this particular episode, episode 6, we were focused on, the next step, moving ahead. You were hired within a company. You were keeping those considerations in mind about being humble and flexible, keeping the customer in mind. But it's about what is the next step. The next steps to eventually you becoming a network engineer. Now, a lot of this I talked about in other episodes in this series, so a lot of this would be very familiar. But the good thing about this is that this feedback is the same from other people that I talked to as part of this collaborative effort that I want to do for this series. So let's go ahead and talk more about the considerations and what you should keep in mind for how you can move ahead towards the goal of you being a network engineer. Now, there are 3 main aspects when we talk about moving ahead or the next step. And this really means the next step in your career path. So for example, if I am a network engineer, you want to eventually become a senior network engineer. So that's what that means about moving ahead. Well, that's pretty simple, right? To do that, you need to improve your technical skills, certifications, job experience, lab practice, helping out with other departments on the weekend for that department that you may be interested in. So here's a question that I usually ask people, and you can see how you answer it. So when you are improving your technical skills, when are you doing this? Are you doing this during work hours, or are you doing this during your personal hours? Well, if you really want to move ahead, really want to move ahead at a very good pace, then you need to use your own personal time to improve your technical skills, not during work hours. And this is what I talked about a lot in regards to job versus career. So a career person, they without any hesitation will do what is needed to improve their technical skills. So after hours, weekends, holidays, they are passionate about that particular career that they want to pursue. So they'll do certification training. They'll be certified. They'll do lab practice, side jobs, whatever. This is their hobby. They're interested in this. Where a job person, if they're going to be certified, they will only study during work hours. They would not use their own personal time to do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But moving ahead as a job person is more challenging and it's a lot slower. When you are a career person, moving ahead is faster, which makes sense because you're moving faster. You're doing a lot more studying. You're getting a lot more exposure. So you're becoming more valuable. So if you are a career person, moving ahead is pretty simple. So if you find it challenging of studying for certifications during your personal time, then that is something that you need to really figure out. Is networking something that I really want to do? Because if you can't study during your own personal time, then you may not be passionate about networking, and it'll be harder to become a network engineer. Because when people or companies hire people, they hire people because they're passionate. That was how I was hired into many companies, including Cisco. I was hired into Cisco because I was very passionate about what Cisco did and what I would eventually be doing. So that came off very clear, and I was hired from that. Some companies, this is true, that if you're not passionate about a particular technology field, they won't hire you. That is happening now. They're actually telling the candidates that. So again, If you're watching this channel, that means that you do want to pursue a career in networking and that you're not seeing networking as a job. Okay, so that's something that you want to keep in mind. Use your personal time if you want to improve your technical skills and move ahead. Now, what are other components? Well, the other components really involves how the company supports you on your endeavors for moving ahead, and they may not. But the first thing you want to really figure out is if there is growth opportunity within the company that you're currently working at. Because ideally, you do want to kind of move ahead within the company because you know the people, you know the environment, you know the different departments. So it makes sense to move ahead. So if you are a technical support person, you may want to move ahead to the networking departments. So again, you want to figure out if there's growth opportunity in that company. Is that even possible? But also, will the company support you for taking training classes and being certified? Some companies are very supportive, others are not. They want you just to do your job and that is it. So usually what I tell people is that when you are doing the interview process and during and at the end of the interview, ask the company, how is growth opportunity within this organization? Does the company support people that want to take training classes on a technology that may not 100% align with what my job responsibility will be, like a routing class or a switching class or a CCNA class perhaps, or support me on being certified, that sort of thing. See how the company supports people for those kind of components. Now, if they do or if they don't, that's important. But if they don't, then you can make a determination if you want to work at that company or if you should just keep in mind that this is a short-term engagement with this company. You want to go in, get the experience that you can, that is networking centric, and then leave if the company is not supportive. What I found very interesting during my process of talking to my various colleagues, business owners, network managers, consultants, sales engineers, even my wife, that when they interviewed the various candidates and talked about what they wanted to do for their, like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what they wanted to do for their career path. What was very interesting was that many of the people said the same thing. Many people said that they wanted to be a network engineer. And that was interesting because some of these jobs that they were applying for is for a system administrator or a desktop technician position or just as a help desk job. They all said that they wanted to be a network engineer. So I asked them, why? Why did people say that they wanted to be a network engineer? Because that's very interesting. Well, most of them didn't know why. They just couldn't answer or provide an example why they wanted to be a network engineer. Some of them said that, well, it sounds interesting, but they couldn't explain or provide any examples for what that actually meant. So here's my question to you. That for most of the particular episodes, I've been really focusing on giving feedback and suggestions on what you can do to become a network engineer or move ahead in your career. Well, I really want to know. I want to hear from all you guys. Why do you want to be a network engineer? Now, I'll give you my answer, but I don't want to be part of the process that I'm feeding you an answer. I want to really hear from you guys, so I want you to post your answer in the comments below. Tell me why you want to be a network engineer. Why not a server administrator or a storage engineer or a network manager or something like that? Tell me why you want to be a network engineer. And that will conclude this episode and this mini-series of talking about applying for jobs. So keep all those considerations in mind as you pursue your particular career path of being a network engineer or advancing as a network engineer. So in the description will be a download to the presentation slides. It'll be a PDF file that you can download. I think I mentioned that in the first video that you could download it, but I wanted to complete the entire series first before I had those presentation slides available for you to download and to reference. So you get all those details in the description below. Now, before we conclude, I do want to hear from you guys. This is what I mentioned in, I think, the last slide was, tell me why you want to be a network engineer. Give me your example. Give me whatever your reason is for why you want to be a network engineer. That's something that you can really just think about. And in a later episode, I will give you my reason for what made me know right off the bat that I wanted to be a network engineer. So thank you for watching this episode and all the episodes in this mini series. If you have been watching them step by step, I really appreciate that. So please subscribe to our channel. That means a lot. Check out our other video training on our main website at routhub.net. And I will see you guys next time.